Hello everyone. Myself Sangaya Swami, working as an assistant professor with the GFGC Yelahanka, Bangalore. So far we have covered session 10 of computer science of a BSc, unit 1 of computer networks, specific paper, one of the elective paper, I mean regular paper of a computer networks. Today's topic that we are going to deal is a least analog circuits. I just want to brief how this topic is relevant in a computer networks. Most of the computer networks is always connected with one or other way some of the equipments. When we say some of the equipments are maybe an isolated units, or equipment may be accessories, or equipments may be connected directly with the board system, or equipments may be connected with some of the external devices. Okay, here when we classify all these equipments which we deal as an accessories, but the question here is, one of the topic which always impact on a computer network is, what are the various analog circuits that we use in interacting our computer means a data transmission in a realistic approach. Okay, in regard to that, uh, we always deal least analog circuits. What do you mean by least analog circuits? I just break this particular word in a various constructive way. One is least means in the sense you are going to hire it up, or you are going to occupy the one particular line of a transmission to access the circuitry options, means access the transmission options in real time of connecting your computer network, where you can transmit a data in a realistic form. What do you mean by realistic form? In the sense, here we're not going to transfer any of the data which is going to be dumped in one particular place and keep on transmitting. No, it is a continuous stream of data which we are going to transmit for a longer way of hosting to a receiving end. Least analog circuits are those circuits which we required essentially for transmitting in the world of computing. In a broader sense, computer is an isolated or autonomous system, which I have repeated in a session 1 also. When these autonomous systems will interact with many of the other important resources, then we have to depend on some of the service providers. And these service providers will enable us to interact continuously of another local area network. Just take a one simple example. When you are going to connect from one local area network to another local area network, here you are going to communicate one local area network to another local area network. We call as a seamless integration of one network to another network. But what are the various options that we can keep on exploring? So you may be using a radio transmission, or you may be using a various another transmission mode. But constructively, what happens here is, whenever you use a least analog circuits, it is necessary to understand what makes to use these analog circuits. Analog circuits, analog in the sense it is a way in which sinusoidal form of data can be used. Sinusoidal sort of a carrier frequency can be used when the transmission is concerned. And these analog circuits are in the form of electronic equipments. And these equipments will provide you broader platform in which that your purpose of connecting one local area network to another local area network will be served. So as I said, when we say that connecting from one network to another network, this means that logically what happens here is, when you connect a physically, so there is a continuous interaction. And here on the layered of a OSI model, we always keep on how do we communicate one layered applications of one computer network system to another layered of computer system. So there in which that OSI model comes. But OSI model comes when it comes to a software implementation is concerned. But these physical layer, it always depends on how physically that we can able to transmit. this is a situation where we required leased analog circuits. So today we are going to deal completely what are the basic fundamentals to understand a leased analog circuits, and how these analog circuits will practically implement in a real time, and how these analog circuits will benefit for communicating continuously, and how these analog circuits makes an impact over a digital circuits. Now these are the some issues which I'm going to discuss today in the session 11. And make a note that there is an always one question on leased analog circuit as per this particular paper is concerned. There are many options that you can explore, but one of the important identity of this particular chapter, it is always shared in examination as per the leased analog circuits are concerned. We move on to discussion. One of the important thing is what is a leased lines. As I said, leased in the sense you are going to lease a particular line, and these lines in turn will give you a separate hosting methods or the separate interacting methods to enable your data to be transmitted without any interruptions. See, if you say that leased lines are those lines which are not pricked or which are not continuously demonstrative. But here what happens here is, if you look into this, another important constraint over here, what happens here is, go back to a previous slide. As I said, often it goes through a multiple switches and trunk lines, and these trunk lines are the dedicated lines which provides you without any interruption. So these trunk lines, it goes through a different service providers circuits, and these lease line will able to use connecting methods with the sum of another alternative using a switch. It often goes through a multiple switches and trunk lines. So sometimes it is necessary to understand what is the basic definition of lease line. Lease line often goes through a multiple switches through a trunk lines, and these trunk lines enable us to transmit a data without any interruption. It looks to user like a simple direct link here. If you focus on this particular illustrative diagram here, as I said, here one particular local area network which is been situated in one of the tower building, and this is connected to a switch. How do we connect with a switch? There is a physical devices and there is a n number of physical array of elements in which that we are going to connect our wired system of network to a switch. From the switch to another where you are where you become a host and where you are transmitting, and that switch is connected to a transmitting line of it. But it is always necessary to make a formation in such a way that these lines should be a line of sight, or these should be a line of sight in which these lease line will be get communicated without any difficulty, right? So lease line are those lines which we always dedicate to transmit or communicate. You can use any alternative word here. I am not going to object you whether you can use a lease line as a circuitry line or lease line as a communication line. And don't get confused about a word called the trunk line. Trunk line in the sense a line which is completely dedicated, I mean booked for a particular data to be transmitted on a hiring basis, or maybe a lease line to be occupied by a dedicated person or dedicated organization in which that you are going to interact with them, right? Now, what are these lease lines? These lease lines, further if you extend your discussion over there, lease lines are limited to point communication. This means that where one particular area of a network to be communicated to another particular area of a network, and this network does not depend on any other accessibility except these are few interactions. As I said, if you link to the interfaces, as I said, if these lines were a point-to-point communication, and these point-to-point communication makes various alignment, and it limits who you can talk to them. So this means that your lease line is always get connected unless you demand them to an additional line of it. So this line is completely dedicated to a person whom do you want to communicate. This means whom do you want to communicate to a network. And here all the carriers offer a lease lines at an attractive price per bit sent to a keep high volume of a customer. This means, as I said, there is a special channel is to be created in which the communication has to be happen in a continuously, even though if the customer more number of customers are there, each number of a customer will get a dedicated lease line as a subscriber lines. Okay, we'll see how these subscriber lines will work in a tandem, or subscriber lines will work in a further mode of communication system. So when these lines will attract different customers for the different requirement, it is our duty to make sure that these lease lines will enable us to understand the different parametric way of transmitting data in asynchronous mode. Okay, now as I said, asynchronous mode, this means that lease line uses a mesh type of a network. If you have a several sites, you need to use it uh, in a standard fraction. That is, these lease line meshes are used in a pattern like it looks like a mess. It looks like a mess in the sense, as we know that these lean lines have to be a conglomeration of different sites, and each site has its own demand of data transmission. Maybe there's some organization running in a smaller quantity, I mean a smaller scale, and some organization may run in a larger scale of it, but still all these lines have a dedicated so that they cannot get interrupted with another organization line of transmission. Okay, and these lease lines has continuous interactions and looks like a mess. What do you mean by the mess? Here there is a particular topology in which that interaction occurs by identifying the different prospective customers to be isolated, so that these isolated customers will get a dedicated line of interaction, and these dedicated line of interaction is always enable us to understand what our requirements and how do they accommodate through the channelization of creating each customer a separate channel is a work of allocating from your trunk lines, and these trunk lines indirectly or another way will completely blocked so that another customer cannot be accommodated of same trunk line. If they accommodate the same trunk line, there is a possibility of interruption, or there is a possibility of what you call that is a sharing your important data to them. So here no organization will offer, no organization will enable to share the data in a tandem. So these shared data will directly impact on your transmission, and these shared data may be violating the norms of transmission, and it may be it becomes an open domain, it's a public domain. And the common customers normally they used a lease line with a sharing system, but in a lease lines what happens here is they are not going to share any of your allocated line as a channel. Instead of that, they protect these channels should not be interacted with another. But some telephonic lines, what happens due to some unwanted situation, they'll mix with noise level, and this noise level creates the hampering process for a transmission, and this transmission in other way will impact on your line of communication, or sometimes it will create an error. To avoid this, most of the organization it always depends on how dedicated line can be used to transmit in your important data or important business needs or important strategies to be implemented using a computer network. That's what I said. A lease line concept is a directly or indirectly relate to a computer network system. And these computer network system in other way is always it depends on what are the accessibility method that we need to accommodate, and what are the accessibility devices that we need to use it for connecting our local area network to a direct lease line methods. So these line becomes a subscriber line, and these subscriber lines becomes maybe a locally synchronized or maybe asynchronous. It depends on where you are availing the services. And these servicing units we called as service providers, and these service providers will always enable you to understand the various fractions of totality of communication, and they always take a written agreement what kind of a data that you are going to transmit and how much bandwidth that you are planning to use it. So what kind of a bandwidth that you are looking, and once they allocate a bandwidth, whether you use it or not use it, if you are using, it is a benefit to an organization. If you are not using, then becomes an idle. But many organization, it is not necessary that you can use continuously. If it becomes an idle, then also you need to pay. So the concept of lease line, in the sense, it is completely dedicated to an organization in which that your data to be transmitted without disturbing to another, right? As I said, we are going to look into another important discussion over the lease line speeds. Largest demand is a 56 kbps to a few mbps. Well, I'm talking about a very obsolete way of extraction data. This in terms where in the 1980s and the 1990s, most of the organization, at least they need to have a 56 kbps, where at least they can send a minimum amount of a data transmission to the user level. But nowadays, most of the organization will not be, I think they are not going to be use 56 kbps of a data. So instead, their organizational needs are enhanced in a, means their demand is increased to somewhere around 100 mbps to 1 gbps. So but still, the accommodative channels in which the trunk lines are providing are the largest demand is 56 kbps to a few mbps. This is what a general and the fundamental principle to accommodate the dedicated lease line to a customer. One of the important concept here is how do you accommodate the 56 kbps or even more than that. It may be a 64, or it may be 128 kbps, or it may be 500 kbps, or it may be 1 gbps. It all depends on the service line providers. Or, as I have already mentioned, ISPs are noted. Internet service providers are always noted to enable these evidences for providing in a longer tenure of it. So here 56 kbps, sometimes we can refer it as a 64 kbps. It's a digital lease lines. So this is generally called a digital signaling operational or discrete signaling operation. Or sometimes if you refer some books, they mentioned it as a direct signaling operations. So in a direct signaling operation, what happens here is there is one signals where it has been taken into consideration as a raised point of discussion, and that can be transmitted over a period of a time. So here some trunk lines we provide a time division multiplexing process where the time constraint that they used, how much time that they are utilizing for transmitting 56 kilobits per second as a time division. Or some organization they provide on the frequency division where the frequency is their constraint. So it depends on the trunk lines whether they are adopting a TD multiplexing and a time division multiplexing, or sometimes they are adopting what you call as a frequency division multiplexing. It all depends on the purely what kind of a trunk line that you booked for accommodating your line of transmission from your network to a global. So a global means what kind of an expectation that you are having to interact data interaction to a customer, right? So one simple example regarding that lease line is concerned, we generally refer as a T1 lines, means a transmission line 1. So generally in electronic system we call as a T1 line. So this is a 1.544 Mbps megabytes digital lease lines. So this means an exactly T1 line is not allocated to any one of the customer. Here T1 line is shared by providing a guarding channels. This means that of course you are getting a dedicated kind of a lease line, but within the channelization within this T1 line they have a many more number of customers to be accommodated. So here 24 times an effective capacity of a 56 kbps. So this means that so all this particular T1 line can be used to accommodate or to provide a channelization for 24 organizational needs. Okay, and this is I'm talking about in somewhere in the 1980s, where frequency at the time is a constraint for transmission. But nowadays, every customer is looking somewhere around 100 Mbps to a 1 Gbps of data. So we have a bigger bandwidth. Earlier, we used to have a narrow bandwidth. Now, from the narrow bandwidth to a bigger bandwidth, that we replaced a narrow bandwidth to a bigger bandwidth. Okay, only about 3 to 5 times cost of 56 kbps. DS1 signaling is always makes an impact for transmission is concerned, right? We move on to what is a fractional T1. In the fraction of T1 speed and the price is an often 128 to 256 or 384 kbps. This means that whether you can able to a speed up of 128 kbps you want, whether you want 256 kbps, that is we call as a 2 times of a T1 line, whether 384 meant is a 3 channelization to be allocated to you. It all depends on what kind of a lease line. See, simple, if you want to use a telephone or your mobile, 56 kbps is also little higher. Just a 12 kbps line to communicate is enough to transmit a data of your voice. So why I am telling is, many countries, there the hierarchical officers will have a direct communication. We could call as a trunk calling or a trunk accommodation calling or satellite communication calling or direct hotline calling. So here, uh, if they want to dedicate one particular line, so what purpose that you are going to use it that particular line, and what is the aim of it, and what are the essential services that you are looking in dedicated line. These are all the well predefined objectives before you're getting a service from it. You need to have, and most of the companies they provides you the handy notes that what signaling process that you are looking as a trunk line. So here the descriptive of DS1 signaling will enable you the service, for a longer time, right? So fractional D1 is always depends on the speed as well as the price of it, because it's going to dedicate or it is going to laying a separate line from where you are looking a complete lease line to be an accommodated only for your purpose. So that is an important discussion over these concept. Now we move on to our next important discussion is lease line speeds. Now these lease line speeds, T3 is the next step, T1, T2, T3. T3 in earlier say 1985 to a 90, we used to have a T3 lines, means trunking lines of a segmented 3. So they have a different segmented line of communication. T1 lines is the highest priority. T2 line is a second priority to accommodate your customer. T3 is another important customer allocation of a line, and many more. So, okay. So maximum nowadays that we have a satellite communication, there is no need to depend on the trunk lines. So trunk line becomes an absolute. Now that nobody wants to use the trunk lines, because now in entire analog serials, or we can call the lease line circuits, analog lease line circuits are completely replaced with the digital circuits. So we're not going to use this anymore. But still, understanding the basic principle, it is always necessary to use how technically we have to depend on these T3 lines. Now the T3 is the next step for accommodating the trunk lines, And the capacity of a T3 lines in US, they used to have somewhere around 44.7 mbps. This means that they are going to accommodate this particular step to enhance the capacity of communication. Now Europe has a series like a E1 series or E3 series. Why they have not used E2? The reason is E2 is completely dedicated to defense of European system, so it is not going to offer to a public domain. So only the E1 and E3, and especially E1 is for organizational supplements or the organizational priority. E3 is for common civilians. The common civilians can accommodate these trunk lines. Providing an authenticated use, you have to give them the list what purpose that you are going to use it. Now, another important lines of very high speed, like a SONET. These SONET type of lease lines are the single and the dynamic line of properties are uses a standard accommodative bandwidth such as 156 mbps, 622 mbps. These are the only few data that I am going to give. An exact direction of what is an accommodative trunk lines are there. You go to the any country's website that they'll display. So what facilities that they have in a trunk line facilitations in using these things. Okay. Now we move on to the next important discussion. Here is SONET. As I said, SONET are the STH. This created as a trunk lines for internal carrier traffic. So when you are setting up intranet, I mean the within the private able of a traffic control of within the organizations, we generally prefer to use intranet. So these created as a trunk lines for internal carrier traffic to a known organization to so where if you want to set up the B2B or the business to business communication, these SONET type of internal architecture or the internet lease lines or say the analog lease lines are useful in providing continuous and the seamless integration for your organization needs. And the trunk line breakage problem. So what is the breakage problem? The problem is unrelated construction products and often break carrier trunk lines, producing service disruptions. See, most of the cities they have a high based means sky, we call it as skyscrapers, where the biggest and the tall building. And when you are providing to a trunk lines, it always go through a physical provision of internal carrier. In that case, so here you need to place these trunk lines is a difficult and the challenging. That's what they say. The trunk line breakage problem is a continuous. If your lines are accommodative in a standard way of handling when the high towers are interfacing. So this becomes a stumbling block in providing the continuous transmission over trunk lines. And the most common cause for disruption is your constructive damages or the buildings or maybe say unwanted and unforeseen conditions that may occur in providing a services, right? Okay. One of the important discussion for the SONET here is a normal switch we use where these wrapping up and before wrapping up an application we use a sequential circuits, and these sequential circuits we call as dual ring process. And normally a traffic travels in one direction on one particular ring. This means that there is a no line which is going to interact or interrupt in your transmission. Okay, that is a very important in the process of understanding these lines. Okay, well, normally the traffic travels in one direction, as I said. So in one particular ring, here the ring network they prefer because easily they can monitor what are the lines that is being accommodative in a system of transmission. Okay, if trunk line breakage, ring is wrapped, still a ring, service will be continued. So that is a criteria of these things we call as a trunk line breakage, right? Or sometimes it can be wrapped up with another two lines where it becomes a full duplex. So this means that for accessing and transmitting, we always prefer to have these kind of a interactive process in a continuous and without any disturbing those phenomenal properties into using this, right? So next we'll keep on discussing what are the digital subscriber lines, we call as the DSLs. So keep the discussion away from this T1 lines. So T1 lines is a dedicated lines. You need to remember T1 is a dedicated line called as a trunk lines. Now another important concept in a computing of a transmission, especially using a circuitry transmission, there is a concept called digital subscriber lines, generally termed as a DSLs. What is a digital subscriber line? Means subscribe the same trunking methods using digital equipments. Instead of traditional lines of communications, we are going to replace a digitally subscriber link. And earlier discussion that we have discussed how the digital subscribers in the chapter 2 of a basic computing system, I have told you how these digital subscriber lines are over on the top of T1 links. So high speed DSL are the three important categorical. Symmetrical means same speed in each direction. HDSL we call as a uh, HDSL we call as a 760 kbps lines, means half a T1 on a single twisted pair. And HDSL2, which is a 154 Mbps, which is a T1 on a single twisted pair for a transmission line of it. And it is always a less expensive because we are using more accommodative channels in a one line. So more number of customers can be accommodated using the dedicated line. Even if it is a discrete, the each trunking lines act as a channels. That's a very important in the DSLs are concerned. Now digital subscriber line, normally these lines used data grade wires. These wires are like a high quality and the high cost of it, and two pairs, one in each direction, so that it becomes a full duplex. And these two pairs will generally accommodate you for many number of channels, but you will get the dedicated service without disturbing in other services. Okay, DSLs normally use a wise grade copper, that is not designed for high speed data, but it can be accommodate normal data which they committed for transmitting. So as I said, so here DSL not designed for high speed data, so sometimes work poorly. Usually one pair ADSL, ADSL2, sometimes two pairs. So this is how the things will work in a realistically. And the problems of lease lines are with the many sites, machines are expensive and difficult to manage many number of lines. With the n sites, this is an equation where n into this is an equation you need to remember. With an n sides, n into n minus 1 divided by 2 lease lines for each mesh is been accommodated. May not be needed all links, but usually we use many sides of this. Suppose the 5 sides lines are 10, 10 sides lines are 45, 25 sides are the 3. So sites in this here, I'm not talking about a websites. Here the sites in the sense physical location where your local area network is situated, right? So we move on to our next discussion, problems of lease lines. User firm must handle the switching and ongoing management of at one particular site location. This is called the site location. And these lines, in other term, are an expensive because this requires a planning and hiring a many manpower based of lines. And these lines expensive. The reason is you need to train them, retain them administrative people, and retain them the wide area network supporting system staff, and continuously watch how the responses of these data lines with respect to a server and many more issues, right? So you always prefer to have a backend support for controlling these data transmission when you subscribe to a physical process of it. right? Next is T1 lease lines voice requirements are analog voice signals encoded as a 64 kbps data stream, see chapter 5, and 8 bits per sample. So 8,000 samples per second. This is what the rate that we need to depend on this. Now in a T1 lease lines, T1 lines are designed to multiple multiplexes for a 24 voice channels of a 64 kbps each. And the T1 lines use a time division multiplexing, as I said, TDM. But some of the trunk liners are the some of the service providers, they enable even the FDM, frequency division multiplexing. Time is divided into 8,000 frames per second, means one frame for each sampling period that has been dedicated. Each frame is divided into 24 of 8-bit slots, one for each channel's sample in that particular time. So 24 into 8, that is a 190, multiply with 192 bits of transmission plus one framing bit for which we are going to use it in a tandem for parity. So T1 lease lines are the speed calculation, it bits per frame, 8,000 frames per second, and these are the speed calculation. When you are calculating the frame bit, 1 per frame, 8,000 per second, used to carry the supervisory formation in groups of 12 or 24 framing bits. So in that, if you look into the process of either dedicated or the non-dedicated, the question here is very simple. First, you need to list out what are the strategies that you are going to adopt for getting services, and how these lines will impact on the your services, and what is the kind of infrastructure that you are planning to have in providing the backend as a network facilitations. In most of the network facilitation, we need to come up with the standard organization needs of timing a line. Okay, so here I'm going to conclude session 11, which deals with different trunking methods of line of communication system. So one of the important topic in a computer network. So hope you have enjoyed this particular session. Whenever you want to uh, listen these kind of whenever you want to watch these kind of videos, you make a small note of it, because a certain parameters which we are going to give as a primary data, which is very useful in understanding so how these concept will be changed. Okay, so we will see in the next session, which deals with furthermore on the facts of computer network. Okay, I'm going to stop the session over here. Thank you. Thank you very much.